Good afternoon. Welcome to see you guys again. I am Danielle Williams, EPIC Program Coordinator for our partner program. And welcome back to our Q2 for HPE. And I just want to give you a quick overview of our EPIC program. I'm sure some of you are already a partner, but if you're not, this is a very good intro to what you would have to look forward to when you join. So our EPIC Partner Program is an initiative for our silver business and proximity partners, in which case we want to help you move through the stacks to get to a silver partner and earn MDF funding with HPE. It is filled with partner enablements like the training tools, partner growth, helps with your performance, and additionally, structured roadmaps and trainings and webinars to help you get acclimated with the HPE portfolio. And so I guess the million-dollar question is, what are the benefits of EPIC to you as a partner? Well, you get dedicated ongoing sales support, marketing tools, campaigns, business development managers that are essentially located in your area, financial incentives. We do put together a $300 account credit when you hit targeted compute product, selling in $1,000 a month for that quarter. We also are incorporating sales milestones, achieve quarterly and annually. We have promotions exclusively just for EPIC partners, just to help you grow and get acclimated with HPE. And additionally, for your partner support. This is a DISTI-led program, so we are certainly catering to the silver business and proximity partners. We will help you with deal registration, pipelines, and of course the product roadmaps, and of course you get your, like I mentioned before, your dedicated business development managers. So one thing that we're particularly happy about is we've implemented a partner strategic roadmap. These are strictly guided paths from onboarding to continued growth with the HPE program. You will find that this is fairly intuitive to the point where it helps pinpoint and guide you where you need to be and help you grow your business. Sales targets and initiatives, those are also it. Additionally, we will help with we will also help with trainings to help you move through the stacks with your medallion level partner status, as well as maintaining the status. And again, just ongoing support and resources, elite workshops, demo labs, and just so much updates that you will be encouraged to continue moving forward. So really, call to action, how to get started. You can always go on the HPE D&H site, our EPIC mini site, and register through there. You can reach out to myself, dwilliams@dnh.com. And again, why join? We have the financial incentives, exclusive learning and promotions, and obviously the growth assistance. But really, the best way to take advantage of the EPIC Partner Program is getting involved, doing the webinars, take part in trainings like this one here offered today. So today, reach out to one of us, your business development managers. We have Eric, we have Laura, and we have Scott, strategically located in the US. So with that, I will hand it over to our very own Brian Ross to kick off the HPE MSA Storage.
Thanks, Danielle. I appreciate it. So my name is Brian Ross, and I am responsible for the storage and data services relationship with D&H in North America. I'm with HPE. And first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us today, both partners and D&H associates. We're excited to have you with us today. We want to present to you today MSA, which is a really important space in our offering, particularly because it's budget friendly, but also high performance and simple to manage. And to enable you guys on that, we have two awesome resources with us today, in Mike Yule and Ben Smith, who are going to go over MSA and all the value that can provide you guys. So I will then pass it off to Mike, and we'll kick it off. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Danielle. And thank you to D&H and all of its partners. Really like to emphasize the thank you, because you guys have been so great in supporting MSA as long as I've been managing MSA, and especially supporting new programs like Smart Choice. So again, thank you. And hopefully we'll have a really good talk today. You'll have some great questions. If you do have questions, feel free to go into the Q&A and ask. Ben will answer them. If we can't get to your question live or during the discussion, we'll go live at the end of the discussion and answer your question. Of course, we'll make these slides available to you, but please do not leave these slides behind to your end customers. They're for use by HPE's partners and only their partners. But let's get started talking about MSA. So as you all probably know, MSA is really positioned for the traditional SMB customer segment, as well as what we would call our remote office, branch office, or robo segment. But we really do develop MSA based on SMB needs. And today, from a IT perspective, and especially from a storage perspective, SMB needs can really be summed up by these 3 points here on the screen. Our smaller customers are obviously worried about growth and growth getting out of hand. Of course, nowadays, today, data growth is so exponential. Just talking with a former colleague of mine a few days ago who used to be in the print division, if you remember back when we were all just HP, and the fact that it seems like nobody prints anymore. Everybody, when you go hit the print button, what do? You save it as a PDF, and that becomes data storage, right? So growth is really, really, growing, gangbusters, as we like to say, and it becomes a concern for our smaller and medium-sized businesses that they're able to keep up with that. And of course, security also is a concern. Nowadays, there are so many challenges to everybody's IT environment. It really doesn't matter how small you are. Everybody seems to be vulnerable to these attacks and issues that pop up. And of course, when a small business buys into a compute solution or storage solution, they don't want to have to worry about security. They want to be able to just worry about taking care of their business. And so we need to make sure that they have secure solutions. And then the last point there is really around support. As you know, most small, medium-sized businesses, they don't have large IT departments. They don't have people that can go in and troubleshoot every single issue that occurs, or when a server won't boot up, or when a storage solution times out or goes down. They want to be able to make one phone call and have that taken care of quickly. And so, HPE is really one of the great partners that can take care of growth, security, and support. And we can certainly do that with a solution like MSA that's been around for almost 30 years. So before we move on, we're going to kind of gauge what you know about MSA. I think these are fun questions. There's obviously a right answer here, but nobody's keeping score. This is really for yourself. But if you don't mind, play along with us. Our first question here today is, based on the discussion that we'll have around MSA Array, and based on your existing knowledge, which of the following statements do you think best describes how HPE MSA Storage is positioned? Is MSA an enterprise storage array that offers 100% uptime? Is MSA a mid-range all-flash array offering 3-to-1 data compression? Or is MSA an entry-level hybrid flash array that typically sells for less than $25,000? So please take a few moments and give us your best answer on that. All right, waiting for a few more responses. and we're going to go ahead and move on and see what you answered here. All right. MSA has been around for about 30 years, folks. It's always been an SMB product, always been an entry-level product, and so that would make answer C. I don't know why it says maybe down there, but it is definitely an entry-level hybrid flash array that typically sells for less than $25,000. If you're looking for an enterprise solution from HPE, you'd be looking at our Alletra B10000 block storage solution. But moving on, let's keep talking about MSA. And so our positioning chart here explains this in a little bit higher detail, but a little more detail. MSA is definitely our entry-level solution. We always position it as the simple, fast, affordable solution because it typically sells for less than $25,000. MSA gives you an incredible mix of features. However, when you compare this to, say, the Alletra B10000 to other mid-range enterprise solutions, what MSA doesn't do is we do not scale out. We do scale up. We can scale up to about 8 petabytes, but we do not scale out, and we do not offer data compaction, such as deduplication or compression. And if you remember, one of the questions, or one of the answers to the poll question was talked about 3-to-1 data compression. That would be something that you would go seek out with the B10000 solution, the Alletra B10000. MSA does not scale out, does not do data compaction, but we do have a rich feature set. We offer one of the lowest prices per terabyte in the entry-level space, period, certainly within the HPE portfolio. Very, very easy to manage, as we'll talk about in a second. We've got great options from host connectivity to drives in our portfolio. And while we're not 100% uptime, we are 5 nines of reliability, which is pretty much the standard, if not a little bit better than the standard in the entry-level segment. Of course, if you need things like compression or deduplication, if you need scale-out capabilities, you would look at the MP B10000, the mid-range, and then the higher-end B10000 solutions in the business-critical category. So what is HPE MSA? Well, it's very simple. It's a storage area network or a shared storage solution that allows multiple servers to be able to connect to a single storage source, block storage source or solution, and to be able to not only store but retrieve data from a single source solution out on the network. As we like to say, it's a simple, fast, and affordable path to shared storage for our ProLiant server customers. We've always pretty much talked about HPE, as long as I've known it for more than 20 years, as being simple, fast, and affordable. Simple from the perspective that MSA can be set up within minutes. Simple from a maintenance perspective with tools like Health Check, which allow you to do daily, if not even hourly if you want, checks on your MSA system for firmware, to check to see if your firmware is up to date, and to see if you've got any other possible issues with your system. Of course, you can do online firmware updates for both controllers and drives. You never have to take the system down. And all this can be done through the user interface now. MSA is also a very fast system. We typically don't associate high performance with entry-level solutions, but with MSA, that's actually not the case. We actually, in some cases, we're up to 160% faster than some of our competitors, but at 800,000 IOPS and up to 14 gig per second, we really, really push the bounds of entry-level performance with MSA. And then, of course, we've got other features on MSA that make it extremely fast, including our automated data tiering, which is true automated data tiering with data movement about every 5 seconds when data is being stored on the MSA, but also high performance with regards to rebuild times with a solution like MSA DP+. DP+ is available for free on MSA. It comes with MSA, and it allows you to do rebuilds up to 25 times faster than traditional RAID 6. So again, you've got not only just the pure performance of the system, but other applications or other features within MSA that help with different types of performance in the system. And of course, very affordable. We have multiple starting points. As we'll talk about, we have both Gen 6 and Gen 7 for MSA. We'll talk about why we have Gen 6 still. but multiple starting points, some on the lower end of the cost spectrum, along with value-driven options like our 6-packs of drives and our 4-packs of transceivers. But again, simple, fast, affordable. It's the mantra for MSA that we've carried for many years. Now, as I talked about earlier, MSA's been around for a very long time. We're actually almost on year 30. And I doubt you'll find any other solution on the market that's been around for that long. I started my career with HPE back almost 26 years ago, and MSA was already out and being sold quite successfully. So been able to see that over the years, and there's really few other solutions out there, even in the HPE brand, other than maybe ProLiant, that have been around as long. So obviously something that your customers can trust and rely on. Again, great performance, especially as compared to other entry-level solutions. But what really sells MSA there is at the bottom, and that's the guaranteed compatibility with ProLiant servers. If you go out and you look at SPOC, single point of connection, that's one of the tools we offer on HPE.com. You'll find all the compatibility between MSA and our compute ProLiant platforms by OS out there, and all those are guarantees of compatibility. Of course, MSA is also purpose-built for SMBs. We don't take mid-range or higher-end solutions and knock them down and try to pull costs out of them. We actually build MSA specifically for our SMB customers. And then again, the value-driven configuration flexibility around MSA is a big seller as well, because you could start at multiple points, whether it's our entry-level 1060 or our latest and greatest 2070. You can build it all hard drive or hybrid flash or all flash, offering different types of 6-packs and bundles along the way, especially in our new Smart Choice portfolio. So again, it's the guaranteed compatibility with ProLiant. It's the fact that we built a true SMB solution, and then really the value that we drive through for customers to get a great value price solution are the big sellers for MSA. So we'll take a quick look at the portfolio. So, excuse me one second, I have a little glitch here. There we go, we're back on. So take a quick look at today's portfolio for MSA. As I said earlier, we have both Gen 6 and Gen 7 today. One of the questions we get most often is, why do you still have Gen 6? You launched that back in 2020. Isn't it quite old? Why don't we just move on to Gen 7? The reality is we have Gen 6 because we can continue building it, but it's also about 20 to 30% less expensive than Gen 7. Of course, Gen 6 doesn't have the performance of Gen 7, but for customers that need hard drive-based or hybrid flash-based solutions, Gen 6 is a great fit for them. You're not going to see a big performance difference between Gen 6 and Gen 7 once you introduce hard drives into your configuration. So we'll continue selling Gen 6 through the end of this year, making our 1060, our 2060, our 2062s, and our flash bundles, and even the Smart Choice options available pretty much until the end of 2026. Of course, you can always put your customers onto Gen 7, which is a high-performance part of the portfolio. And I would highly recommend, if you're going to use an all-flash solution, that you actually prescribe Gen 7 to your customers, because that's where they'll get the big performance increase for MSA. But until the end of 2026, we will continue to offer both Gen 6 and Gen 7, and it would make a great sense for you to understand the budget versus performance optimized positioning, so that you know what to position when you go and talk to your customers. All right, before we move on, we're going to have our next poll question. And this question is, what are the differences between MSA Gen 6 and Gen 7 storage arrays? Now, I've already kind of hinted to this, but please feel free to go ahead and answer. let's move on to the next slide and see what our answers look like. And it looks like all of you answered all of the above, which is absolutely correct. By the way, I did this poll with a group out in APAC, and they didn't get 100% on any of the questions, so I'm proud of you guys. Because we haven't even talked about all these differences yet, but I think you did probably key in at least on the performance. So let's get into the differences between Gen 6 and Gen 7, which are very few, honestly. As we talked about, Gen 6 is our older array. It was launched in 2020. We'll sell it through the end of this year. Gen 7 was launched at the end of 2024, so it's still relatively new. It'll be around until late 2028, mid 2029, where we'll have our next generation MSA out in about that time frame. But the primary difference between Gen 6 and Gen 7 is, number one, we don't have a 1070 model. I'm sure some of you have sold the 1060, which is our truly entry-level starting point for Gen 6. Has about half the performance and half the ports of a 2060, but still a great price and a great solution for most small businesses. We were not able to introduce a 1070. So again, if you want that true entry-level starting point, you should really look at Gen 6. From a host connectivity perspective, we offer fiber channel iSCSI and SAS on both Gen 6 and Gen 7. However, we did introduce 32 gig fiber on Gen 7. If your customer needs 32 gig fiber, obviously you can't offer Gen 6. I will tell you that 32 gig fiber is now the #1 selling host connectivity platform for MSA, and growing. So fiber channel overall is about 50% of our business, and 32 gig fiber has been quite successful, especially for all flash array configurations. Now, as we continue on, one of the things to note between Gen 6 and Gen 7 is they share the same drives, and they have the same number of drive bays. So it makes sense that both Gen 6 and Gen 7 have the same capacity capability. Where the big difference between Gen 6 and Gen 7 occurs is in performance. And if you look at IOPS and throughput, you'll see that there is almost double the IOPS. And then if we're talking about sequential write versus sequential read, we see up to about a 30% increase on the gigabytes per second. To get to these performance measures, you have to use all flash configurations on MSA. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But again, significant performance difference if you're using all flash. If you're using hard drive based solutions or hybrid flash, then the performance is going to be pretty much the same. All other features on Gen 6 and Gen 7 are exactly the same, okay? It's one of the kind of trick questions I ask in some of the other polls is, you get more features on Gen 7 than you get on Gen 6? And the answer is no, they're exactly the same. Even the online firmware updates and the new Smart Assist feature are available on both Gen 6 and Gen 7. So again, really not a difference there. It's really based more on performance and then how you want to position the configuration for your customer. Now, we could spend a whole hour, probably spend a whole day talking about common use cases for MSA. We try to boil this down and so that we can have a very quick conversation to one slide and really focus on these three applications. The most common application for MSA is what we call the SMB. And this could be 2 servers in a cluster with an MSA providing storage for both. But it's really just more of a general purpose use for the MSA across multiple ProLiant servers. It could be small form factor, it could be large form factor. When it comes to general purpose storage, it really depends on what your budget is and how much performance you're trying to get out of it. Of course, we'd like to position our hybrid flash and our all flash solutions for these customers, but it doesn't necessarily require an all flash solution. But the general purpose storage for SMB is really our #1 workload and application for MSA. The other two here, backup and CCTV, are areas where we see great growth with MSA. Note that MSA, as a block storage device, can also be used as a target device or a backup repository. I don't think a lot of people really consider this. They think of MSA, oh, that's your primary storage device, okay? But if you think of having a solution like an Electra, which can be quite expensive, and you wanted a very fast, disk-based backup solution or a backup repository for your Electra, you can actually use MSA to achieve that. Of course, MSA could be used as a backup repository for virtually any block storage device, whether it's HPE or one of our competitors. And you would actually implement the backup to an MSA using something like Veeam or our own Zerto near synchronous software, replication software. But it's a great opportunity to sell MSA, especially when you're selling Electra, or when you're selling MSA itself as a primary device. You could always look at offering a second MSA as the backup repository. And then, of course, on the far right, CCTV really probably has the biggest promise in terms of growth. And, you know, if you just stop and think about today's environment for almost any business out there, whether it's a grocery store or a fast food restaurant, a movie theater, a hotel, a mall, business building, people have CCTV or video cameras everywhere, and they need to be able to not only capture that data, you know, constantly, 24 hours a day, but they need to store it for long periods of time. And we're seeing more and more opportunities pop up where MSA can be used as a storage repository for large amounts of video data. Of course, this can also apply to, say, you know, hospital or medical imaging as well. One of our largest customers for MSA is actually a company that builds a data storage repository for hospitals for things like video imaging. So again, a lot of possibilities there to be able to pursue business around video surveillance, video imaging, hospital imaging, and so forth. And MSA is a perfect solution to be able to capture and secure that data. And I talked about earlier positioning Gen 6 versus Gen 7, you know, especially in some of these use cases we just discussed. This becomes a highly asked question amongst a lot of our resellers and our partners out there. You know, you got Gen 6, you got Gen 7, where do I start? And, you know, to me, the easiest part of that is if the customer is not looking for the highest performance, if they're looking to stretch their budget, either using an all hard drive or a hybrid flash solution, it's probably better to start with Gen 6, because as you can see from this chart, there's very little performance difference once you start getting into an all hard drive or a hybrid situation. You can see there's a little bit of a difference in IOPS, but it's not something that the customer is really going to notice. The big change in performance really comes with all flash. And if you've got a customer that's seeking an all-flash solution because they need the highest performance, it's really better to go to MSA Gen 7, because that's where they'll see the big performance difference. That doesn't mean you can't use an all-flash or create an all-flash configuration with Gen 6. We still see customers doing that. It will certainly save them about 20 to 30% on the array itself. But really, if you're looking for a long-term investment, you know, using these solutions for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, it's better to go ahead and put them on Gen 7 so they can take advantage of the additional performance that Gen 7 can offer for an all-flash configuration. And certainly, should you ever have any questions about, you know, the type of performance you get, you can always go to the Ninja sizing tool and input a Gen 6 and look at Gen 6 versus Gen 7 in terms of performance. And you should see numbers that are very close to what we show here on screen. I want to switch gears a little bit now and talk about a new program that we have around MSA, certainly a new program for HPE. And I say new, we've had it for about a year and a half. But for some of you, it's going to be brand new, and that's Smart Choice. Now, Smart Choice is a sales program. It is about pricing, it's about fast delivery, and it's about being able to get the most popular solutions as quickly and as cheaply as possible. And so MSA within Smart Choice, it doesn't change the definition of what we sell. It doesn't make it faster or slower. It doesn't offer you any other features that you wouldn't get, say, buying, you know, or configuring MSA through SmartBook. Smart Choice is really about us offering the most popular MSA solutions at the lowest transactional price with the fastest delivery. Now, when we first started offering MSA and Smart Choice, we only did bundles. And if you remember, we did Gen 7 all flash bundles, and then we did Gen 6 hard drive and hybrid flash bundles, because that follows the positioning we've been talking about, right? So when we started off with Smart Choice, you could buy MSA via Smart Choice in bundles. It would come with anywhere from 7 to 14 drives, and with the transceivers, if you were buying iSCSI or fiber channel. If you were buying a hybrid flash solution, it would come with the Advanced Data Services license. And we've done quite well with the bundles. They are quite popular now. Some of the feedback we got last year was, hey, Mike, we like the bundles, but it's not what we always need. We need to be able to have some flexibility in how we define Smart Choice bundles. We need flexibility in what we sell our customers. I don't want to always stock fiber channel because occasionally I need iSCSI or vice versa. So in March, we launched MSA Smart Choice options. And what that did is it took our base arrays, what we call our mod zeros or our empty arrays, offered those out within the Smart Choice program, as well as drive 6-packs for hard drives and SSDs and our Advanced Data Services license and all of our transceivers. And now you can get MSA with the Smart Choice pricing and the fast Smart Choice delivery, but with the flexibility of building your own solutions. Now, we haven't taken SmartBook away. You can still use SmartBook. SmartBook is a great option for configuring and quoting virtually any solution we offer within MSA, but especially for those types of options that we don't sell very often, such as our 48-volt DC power supply, or maybe one of our lower run rate hard drive solutions that your customer wants. So you really have three choices here today when you're quoting MSA. If you can find a bundle that meets your customer's needs, that's really the lowest cost and fastest delivery solution. If you need some flexibility and you can choose within HPE's Smart Choice options, then you can select your own base array, your own drive options and transceivers and build your own solution. Or if you need the ultimate flexibility, if you need for HPE to offer simple CTO for your customer, you can certainly buy your configurations through SmartBook. Now, this gives a little more graphical representation with regards to price. I will ask you, number one, please do not hold me to the prices you see on screen. This slide is a couple months old, and we've seen a lot of changes in price. But I wanted you to see kind of a relative comparison. If you take a popular configuration like we have on the left, and you run it through Smart Choice bundles versus Smart Choice options versus SmartBook, you can see from a list price perspective, the lower list prices that start with Smart Choice. And of course, as I said, if you can use a bundle, that's our easiest and our lowest transactional price that we can offer on MSA. You get a little bit better price than SmartBook when you go to Smart Choice options. And when you need the ultimate flexibility, again, still at a good price, we have SmartBook available. But what I would simply ask you is, as you're going out and talking to your customers about Smart Choice and you're starting to build those configurations, take a look at the Smart Choice bundles and see if that's something that you can sell your customer, because you are going to get the best price from that. If you can't get there with a bundle, let's say you need something with 10G-based iSCSI, or you need something with SAS that we don't have as a bundle, then take a look at Smart Choice MSA options, as we offer all those solutions today, offer all the base arrays and drives today through there. And then if you can't get there with Smart Choice options, then of course SmartBook would be your most flexible and way of being able to quote a solution. So again, some pretty big differences in price, especially if you look at that all-flash array at the bottom there. You see there's a significant difference in starting point between even Smart Choice bundles and options, but obviously as compared to SmartBook as well. So again, please check out Smart Choice. We're probably not going to add any more SKUs for a while. I think once Gen 6 end of lives are obsolete at the end of this year, we'll probably transition some of the Gen 6 bundles to Gen 7. But if you go out and check out Smart Choice today, you'll see it's a pretty comprehensive list of SKUs out there available for you to either buy from bundles or to build your own bundle. And then, of course, you can always attach basic and essential care packs via Smart Choice as well. I will tell you, it's a question that comes up quite often. What if your customer needs a critical care pack or needs a service that we don't offer through Smart Choice? You can always attach non-Smart Choice services to a Smart Choice array as well. And if you have problems trying to figure that out, just contact myself or Ben. We'll help you out. We'll get you connected with the right people to make sure that you can quote whatever services you need for your Smart Choice array. All right, we're going to come to our last polling question. This one's a little tricky, but read the 3 following statements and tell us which one is false. All right, I think we've got some answers. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the next slide so we can see the answers. And of course, there's no tricking you guys. A was the correct answer. A is the false statement. As I said earlier, Smart Choice does not change the features of MSA. You get the same features no matter how you buy MSA. Smart Choice is about buying transactionally and getting a lower price and then getting your product shipped faster. Okay. We don't offer any different performance or any different features through Smart Choice. As a matter of fact, if you want the full set of MSA options, you really have to go through SmartBook. Remember, as I said earlier, we don't offer everything in Smart Choice, only our most popular bundles and our most popular options. But that's great, folks. I think that's 2 questions in a row. We got 100%. So either you're really smart or I'm a good teacher. Hopefully it's a little bit of both. So, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to come to our last few slides and talk about MSA sales opportunities a little bit and resources that you can use to sell MSA. Now, in traditional sales pitch and sales speak, we talk about farming and hunting MSA. And it's really, really easy to see examples of farming and hunting on MSA because it's been around for so long. But when we talk about farming opportunities or MSA, we talk about looking at the install base. Of course, MSA has over 600,000 arrays in its install base. I actually think it's a lot higher than that. It's kind of like baseball statistics. They only started counting them starting in 1950. You know, we really don't see a lot of early baseball statistics or basketball statistics. So I think we're actually above 600,000 on MSAs, but that's kind of our running total that we have today. Again, we've been around for almost 30 years. It's not hard to find a customer that either has an MSA in their install base or has used one previously. So again, such a large install base, it's very easy to go out and farm business. Now, when it comes to hunting for MSA business, we talk about server-led selling, right? Most customers don't just go out and look for a new storage solution. They're out refreshing their server or upgrading their servers or adding new servers, and then they also need to add storage onto that. So again, if you're hunting for MSA business, it's kind of the cheeseburger and fries scenario, right? You're going to sell the cheeseburger, you're going to sell the server, make sure you sell the fries. If you sell your customer a brand new Gen 12 ProLiant server with this incredible performance, why would you allow them to continue, and I say allow, truly, allow them to continue using an old storage solution that's going to lag behind their compute? So again, whenever we're selling servers, especially ProLiant servers, we should be looking for opportunities to sell storage. And in the SMB space, that would really be starting with MSA. Now, if we look at the install base and we look at farming our install base, one of the first things to key in on with your customers is end of support life and just, you know, flat out warranty. Customers do not like to operate IT, or they really shouldn't be operating IT, that doesn't have warranty and support. I can guarantee you, if your customer is running a Gen 1 through a Gen 4 MSA, their end of support life has been gone for quite some time, and they certainly don't have any warranty. And there alone, there's over 200,000 units that are out in the field still. If you're looking at Gen 5, which is a little more recent, we obsoleted Gen 5 in 2022, I can tell you that they'll be reaching end of support life and warranty this year. So there's another 50,000 units in the install base that you should be able to go out and find. Customers don't want to run the risk of not having support. If you can identify customers where you've sold or where your reseller has sold a Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, it's really worth following up with that customer to talk to them about a Gen 6 or a Gen 7 solution for MSA. The other thing that's easy to identify in terms of a sales opportunity is performance and capacity. Now, I can tell you that if the customer used Gen 1 to Gen 3, they do not have SSDs in their environment. If they use MSA, if they've been using or still using Gen 4, it's very unlikely they have SSDs as well. We really didn't start selling flash storage into MSA until Gen 5. And even with Gen 5, we sold very little flash storage. So again, these older MSAs where Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5 that may still be in operation, it's a great opportunity for you to walk in and talk to the customer about upgrading to a Gen 6 or Gen 7 with better performance, and especially about maybe migrating to an all-flash array so they can take advantage of the performance of, say, a Gen 7 system. Even if they're using hard drives or hybrid flash, I can tell you that Gen 3, our largest hard drive, was 12 terabytes. We have 24 terabyte drives today. We'll have 32 terabyte drives later this year. So again, a great way to go in and talk to a customer who's using an older MSA and say, hey, look, we can scale you up in performance. We can scale you up in capacity. Let's take a look at Gen 6 and Gen 7 for your current server environment. So again, these are kind of the icebreakers or the opportunities to go out and farm MSA business. Of course, if you want to hunt new business, if you can't find MSAs in your install base, just look at where you're selling ProLiant servers. I know that almost every one of you on this call are probably out actively selling compute or servers on a daily basis. All we're simply asking is, as you take advantage of those opportunities to quote the server, make sure you talk about storage as well. Again, make sure you sell the fries with the cheeseburger. It's quite a shame when we go out and we sell the latest and greatest servers and we don't offer an upgrade in the storage capabilities for that customer. So again, take advantage of the opportunity to discuss that, especially if you see a smaller customer that's still using direct attached storage. Have a conversation with them about a SAN or a storage area network and how a shared storage can actually give them a boost in their IT environment. And if you feel uncomfortable having that conversation or you're not quite sure how to have it, give me or Ben a call. Reach out to us and we can help you, get you some slide material or some sales material, point you to the customer presentation, or even potentially assist you with the customer as well in making that presentation and helping the customer to understand the advantages of a storage area network like MSA. So again, I know this is just one slide, but if you'd like us to, we can come back and talk to you individually and talk more about selling opportunities on MSA. But that's really the highlights of both farming and hunting MSA opportunities. Now, I wanted to make sure everybody on the call understands that we do have MSA and Engage and Grow. Hopefully you're familiar with Engage and Grow for HPE. It's our bonus point system that we pay out on virtually every MSA array SKU that we sell today, especially Smart Choice. There's extra points on Smart Choice SKUs. And that's both Smart Choice bundles and Smart Choice options. But if you're not taking advantage of Engage and Grow, you're really not maximizing your earning potential. And it's something that you should check out. You can reach out to Brian or your D&H team and they can tell you more about Engage and Grow, or you can reach out to myself and Ben as well, and we can point you to the right folks. But please do make sure you're taking advantage of Engage and Grow. It's a great way to really build your earning potential when you're selling HPE. And so I'm going to go ahead and conclude by just kind of flashing our list of resources out there. You've all got access to HPE.com. You can find these resources on a lot of these resources on HPE.com, such as Quick Specs. If you're not familiar with the Quick Spec, it's the #1 tool and has been going back to the compact days for finding information on various solutions. And we have 4 quick specs out there today, one on the 1060, one on the 2060, one on 2062, and then we have a consolidated quick spec on Gen 7. And then there's another quick spec that pertains just to smart choice compute and storage solutions. Would highly recommend you go out and take a look at the quick specs if you have questions. Of course, if you have access to Seismic or PS Now, you can reach a lot of this other data, such as our technical marketing deck. That deck has about 150 slides in it. It's everything you want to know. I like to call it the A to Z for MSA. If you can't find it, reach out to myself or Ben. We'd be happy to send it to you. Of course, there's videos. We have our online sizer. We have our health check tool. We've got competitive intelligence files out on Seismic. We've got white papers and solution briefs that should be available through Seismic and PS Now. And then, of course, we also have these partner campaign kits for both our distributors and our resellers that will give you things like EDIs and banner ads that you can leverage to go out and sell MSA and to go out and sell Smart Choice as well. But please take a look at these resources. If there's, for some reason, you can't reach one of these or find one of them, or the link goes bad or anything like that, let myself or Ben know, and we'll be happy to hook you up with the link or send the document over to you. But with that, I'd like to say thank you, and let's see if we have any questions that Ben and I can answer for you live or online. I haven't really paid attention to the Q&A in the box. Is there anything we haven't answered there so far?
No, we are up to date with all questions as far as I can tell.
Okay. Who gets the prize or best question of the day?
Well, I think Daniel's coming in with a good series of questions, so he's going to win that prize. One might be, for example, whether VME can run on smart choice arrays. Hopefully everyone saw the answer. VME runs on all MSA Gen 6 and Gen 7 arrays. And the smart choice is, essentially the same systems, they're just packaged up into a SKU.
Yeah, and remember earlier, folks, there's no change in features, whether you're selling Smart Choice or Smart Book, or you're building a CTO solution and escalating the price. There's no change there. It's all the same solution. So yes, VME is fully qualified on both Gen 6 and Gen 7. I think we're also working on a plugin. I don't know when that's going to be available for VME soon. But yeah, you can definitely use VME with MSA. And Daniel, the check is in the mail for all the great questions, all right? We appreciate that. Does anybody have any other questions? Anything live? Are we able to ask, Danielle, are we able to ask live questions, or does everything have to go through the Q&A?
Yes, you should. No, we should be able to support live questions, I believe.
So good question, Terry. Yeah. Yep. So are the MSA hard drives and SSDs basically the same to use in the per-line service? That's a tricky answer. From a raw physical drive perspective, yes. If they're a SAS drive, if they're a read-intensive SSD, the SAS 7.2K large form factor, yeah, physically the drives are the same. The big difference, though, is firmware. We do not use HPE firmware. We actually use OEM firmware. So if you were to take a drive out of a ProLiant, and let's say you're taking it out of the carrier and put it into the MSA M2 carrier, would it functionally operate? The answer is, yeah, possibly, but it wouldn't be warranted. You do have to use MSA drives with MSA firmware. And there's a possibility you could run into a problem there, and you're not going to be able to flash the firmware to change it to OEM firmware. So I would highly advise against not trying to interchange drives, even if they are physically the same drive. Yes, you're correct. Obviously, the drive carriers are different. We do not use smart carriers in MSA. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, again, on screen there, you have my name, Mike Ewell. You have Ben Smith. I am located in Houston. Ben is in Prague, so give him a break. If you send him an email, he might not get back to you the next day. If you've got a sales-related question, roadmap, pricing, sales, you can send that to me. If you've got a technical question, how to actually use an MSA, Ben's the world's expert on MSA. I would highly recommend that you copy one or the other on the email, but feel free to reach out to both of us if you do have any questions. If you'd like further training for you or for your company, let us know. And of course, if you ever need assistance selling to a customer, let us know. But with that, I'll turn it back over to Danielle for us to close.
All righty. Well, thank you, Mike, Ben, and Brian. You guys were awesome. This is the type of interactive webinars that we like with HPE. Lots of content and great information for our partners. Again, Danielle Williams, EPIC Program Manager. Please reach out if you have additional questions and you would like to know more about the program. I am happy to provide a one-on-one, work with you as a partner, get you set up to become an EPIC partner. That way you can grow with us, understand more. I believe Mike mentioned something a little bit more about the Engage and Grow. We do help support and help guide you through that process of getting set up with Engage and Grow as well. So lots of program HPE content that we are happy to share. So with that, I'll give you 8 minutes back, and thank you for participating in our Q2 HPE webinar. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, folks.
Thank you all. Thank you, D&H. Thanks, partners. Appreciate it.
Got it.